Okay, now let's try some different tools of these libraries so that we can, for example, plot different charts. So let's say I don't want to create a line chart any longer, but I want to change chart. We can, for example, try to use a bar chart. And again, it's very simple. The command is .bar, and what we need again is the data of the two axes. So we have again years, so that the chart can be fed with the data from the years list here. And for example, let's say the yield of the strawberries. As you can see, as we run the code, the program automatically drafts a bar chart. And we can immediately see that the production of strawberries has increased steadily, slowly at first, and then steadily and higher. It has been higher and higher in the years 2006 and 2007, for example. We can also have a bar chart with multiple values. Okay, we can do that by, for example, let's see, we can use, of course, always the bar command, because it's always a bar chart. The years parameter is the same. And then what we want here is to show, for example, the yields of the apples on top of the strawberries. So we will say that we will use a special parameter, the bottom parameter, to tell the program what other data we want on the bottom of the apple data. And we will give the yields of strawberries. So running the code, we probably error here. Yes, an S. Should work now. And as you can see, we have the entire production of apples and strawberries together, so that we can look at the comprehensive production of these two fruits. But we can also distinguish apples from strawberries each year to understand if we are producing more apples than strawberries. This is very useful to distinguish different data and to have at the same time the entire set of data, the sum of the data. So now we are going even deeper in using these two libraries. We are going to load a pre-existing data set that is already existing in the Seaborn library. Is called tips. We are putting it into a variable named tips. SNS, if you remember, is the name we used to call Seaborn. We use the load dataset command, and the dataset we are going to load is called tips. We can have a look at this dataset. It's basically a dataset on a customer of a bar, and this dataset marks down some data. For example, the total bill, the tip the customer left to the waiter, if the customer is female or male, if it's a smoker, the day when the customer came into the bar, if it was lunchtime or dinner time, and how many persons there were on the table. On this data set, so first of all, you now have learned that you can load existing data set, and you do not need to create simple data set by hand as we did before, just as an example. You can load data set in various formats, usually CSV format, but also SQL formats, Excel formats, and so on and so forth. This dataset will be useful to show another kind of chart that is specific of Seaborn, is the bar plot chart. We can use the command .barplot, and this command needs an x-axis parameter, and we will choose one of these column of data as the axis. So we want on the x-axis the day when the customer entered the bar, and so we will call the x-axis. We will tell the system to fetch the x-axis on the day column of the dataset, and then we need, of course, the y axis. What we want to know is, let's see, maybe we are interested in knowing the bill, how much a customer pays in a specific day. So we are going to correlate the day with the total bill. So we'll fetch the data in the total bill column. And finally, the last parameter, we have to tell the system where to fetch this column of data. And of course, our data set is called tips. So now the system knows that he has to draft a bar plot chart using the column day and the column total bill as axis from the tips dataset. Let's see what happens when we run the code. An error, because probably we have missed something. We missed a quote here, probably. Oh, no, okay. Data must be referred as a variable, not directly with the name of the dataset. Here it is. So now we have a bar plot. A bar plot is very useful because it gives some additional information. So now we have the total bill paid by the customer here, as you can see, and the days. So instinctively, we see that a customer pays more on Sunday, usually. And for each day, you can see the bar that represents the average paid by all the customers that has been registered on the dataset. But also the maximum value here and the minimum value here. Okay, so the bar plot chart gives you some additional data, and it's very useful for this kind of data here, and it's very easy to plot this kind of chart. As you can see, it's basically one line of code and a couple of lines just to load the data. It's very easy also to, if we need additional data, for example, to give a hue, so a specific, let's say, angle of analysis, let's say. So for example, if I want to know this same data here, but divided by the sex, the gender of the customer, I can use the hue option here and tell the program to differentiate by gender. The column in the dataset is called sex. And here you are, the same data as before, but differentiated by male and female customer. Okay, so just a small command to have additional granularity in the data analysis. Of course, it's very easy to reverse the chart by just changing the X and Y axis here. We had a vertical chart, now we have a horizontal chart, very, very easy. So finally, the last tool I want to show you here is a heat map. A heat map is a very interesting tool because it can show you a large amount of data with colors in a very effective and quick way. So first of all, we have to load another internal data set that you can already find inside Seaborn. It's a flights data set. We will put it into the flights variable here. Again, as before, we will use the load dataset command. The database is called flights, but we want to, let's see if we have called the dataset correctly before proceeding. Yes, it is. Here we are. To plot a heat map, we need these dataset slightly changed. We want the same data. Here we have, as you can see, 3 columns, but we want some data of this column to form, we must give it the shape of a 2-entry table. To do that, we use the pivot command here. So we use some data has pivot, has references to create a table. We give the program the data we want to have as pivot for the new table. It's month, year, and number of passengers. And as you can see, the same data set, passengers, small errors creates huge problems when coding in Python, but it's always like this. And now, as you can see, we have the same data set, but styled as a table. What we did here, we told the program we want month here in the x-axis, year, the year of the flight on the y-axis here, and we want the passenger column has a data interrelated to year and month. And here it is. Now, what we can do here, no. Yes, okay, I will leave the table here as a reference. To create a heat map from a table, it's very easy in Seaborn. We recall Seaborn by the nickname we gave SNS, and we use the command heat map. We tell the program what is the data set it should fetch the data from. Of course, we put it into the variable which is flights. Remember, it's a pivoted data set now. And honestly, I think for a first example, we can just run the code here. Yes, as you can see, in a total independent way, Seaborn created a heat map. Maybe not a very beautiful one, but you can immediately pinpoint by following the legend where was the peak of passengers, for example. You can absolutely say that in the 60s, the beginning 1960, on July, there was the peak of passengers in this data set. We can use Matplotlib and Seaborn to together to personalize this map. For example, we can add a title as we did before. Number should be a string, number of passengers, for example. We added the title here. We can make it a bit larger, if you remember. Figure, fig size, parameter. We can have it like 11. So still a square, but larger. Yes. Maybe too much. Let's say 9 and 9. Okay. But we can also add parameters to the heatmap command to customize the data visualization. For example, we can put the data inside with the annotation command. So we tell the system, yes, we want you to write down the data inside each cell. And as you can see, the system has written very large numbers inside the cells, making the graph, the chart, a bit unreadable. So we can use the format command, fmt, and tell the system that we only want decimal. D is the command here, decimal values to be shown in the chart. Here it is, better, way better. I think that the basic color visualization here is absolutely okay, but there are many other options that you can look better into the documentation of Seaborn. A very effective one, in my opinion, is a color map related to climate. It's called CoolWarm. And it is, in my opinion, the best to show that. As you can see, cooler colors here are used to show numbers, lesser numbers, let's say, and warmer color are used to show large number. Very easy, 3 lines of code, fully personalized heatmap. So, thank you for following this very brief pills of knowledge about Matplotlib, Seaborn, and data visualization in Python.